On the 10th of April 2012, Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad visited Hormozgan as part of his fourth trip to all the provinces. And the next day he visited Abu Musa, a small island situated between two others, the Lesser and Greater Tombs. The United Arab Emirates wasn't happy about this and recalled its ambassador for consultation. Even a friendly football match that was supposed to be held on the 17th of April between Iran and the UAE was cancelled.
Good afternoon, everyone.
On the same day, the spokesman for the US State Department, Mark Toner, said Washington supported the referral of the case to the International Court of Justice. He also called on Iran to agree to direct talks with the UAE on the matter. The Persian Gulf Cooperation Council held a meeting immediately after Ahmadinejad's visit, condemning it as a violation of the UAE's national sovereignty. Regarding the ownership of the Lesser and Greater Tombs, Iran says there is nothing to talk about. They belong to Iran. But as a goodwill gesture, Tehran says it will sit down to talks to resolve any misunderstandings that might have occurred. On the 18th of April, Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanparast said the president's visit to Abu Musa was about Iran's territorial sovereignty. These islands have always been part of Iran and we will not negotiate over their ownership. That evening, 225 Iranian MPs released a statement saying Mr. Ahmadinejad's visit was a domestic issue and all the claims made regarding this issue are null and void. In its trip to Hormozgan, the government approved a plan to turn Abu Musa into a unique tourist region. The International Persian Gulf Conference that is held in the Iranian city of Bandar Abbas every autumn will be held in Abu Musa in April. Mr. Hassan Mousavi, one of Iran's vice presidents, says, in view of the subsidies that will be designated to help people travel to Abu Musa, every Iranian should have holiday snaps from this island. Political wrangling between Iran and the UAE over the Lesser and Greater Tombs, and especially Abu Musa, has increased in recent years. When British forces pulled out of the island in 1971, the Iranian government announced that Abu Musa is part of Iran and asserted that claim by sending troops there. Iran says throughout history these three islands have always been part of its territory and remain so today. But the UAE challenges that, accusing Iran of occupying Abu Musa, and the word occupy has a long history going back to yet another agreement involving the British. Not surprisingly, the Persian Gulf Cooperation Council's member states back the UAE in all this. In this program, we'll be looking at the dispute between Iran and the UAE from two angles, from a historical and legal perspective and a political perspective. For as long as man has documented such things, the Lesser and Greater Tombs and Abu Musa belong to Iran. 22 centuries of history are a testimony to that.
If you go back thousands of years, there was not even an Arab population present there, and this was entirely the population was made up of Iranians and several satraps who were active in shipping and in trade, and also they housed several naval bases. So the Iranian naval history goes back to the Achaemenid period, or the period of the First Empire.
این جزایر بر اساس نقشه هایی که در گذشته به ویژه در قرن 19 خود انگلیسی ها از منطقه کشیدن و در واقع سرحدات کشورها رو تعیین کردن متعلق به ایران هست. متون نوشته شده، سفرنامه ها، معاهدات، موافقتنامه ها، خاطرات، همه نشون میده که این جزایر متعلق به ایران بوده، از دیرباز، از گذشته های خیلی دور در اختیار ایران بوده.
اولا در طول تاریخ هیچگاه امارات و یا حتی شیخ نشینای خلیج فارس مثل شارجه در جزایر ابو موسی و تنب بزرگ و کوچک حاکمیت نداشتن. همیشه قبل از اینکه انگلیس‌ها این جزایر رو اشغال بکنن اینها در اختیار ایران بوده و ایران در اونجا حضور داشته. اسناد و مدارک که تاریخی هم همین رو میگه. و نکته دیگه این که انگلیس‌ها بعد از اینکه خواستن برن جزایر رو به ایران که مالک جزایر بوده تحویل دادن. اونا اگر اینا مال امارات یا مال شارجه بود خب به اونجا تحویل میدادن.
And despite the historical evidence that the islands belong to Iran, the word tomb is an ancient Iranian one. That said, the name Abu Musa might sound rather Arabic to some.
The islands are definitely Persian in background. Tom means a small inclined space or a hill in the middle of a body of water itself. It's a Persian word in both Dari Persian and also in Old Persian.
اسم این جزایر هم ایرانی هست. ابو موسی اون در طول تاریخ تبدیل شده به ابو موسی. ابو موسی به زبان محلی به معنی تپه سبز تقریبا یه همچین معنی میده، یعنی جایی که آب شیرین داره و وضع مناسبی داره. به زبان محلی اون بو موسی میشه، موسا نیست، ابو هم نیست، ولی که آرام آرام نوشتنش به صورت ابو موسی در آمده، زبان محلی.
In his book, The English Amongst the Persians, Sir Dennis Wright, Britain's ambassador to Tehran from 1963 to 1971, talks about the dispute over the islands. Wright says in the 1880s, Qasemi sheikhs acted as governors of Lenge and paid taxes to Persia. But when a Persian governor was appointed to Lenge, the Arabs laid claim to the islands. The British backed them, but didn't enter into open hostilities. The book says, a War Office map presented by the British minister to the Shah in 1888 showed all the islands in Persian colours. The Persian case was further strengthened with the publication in 1892 of Curzon's two-volume Persia and the Persian Question, in which the map, prepared by the Royal Geographical Society under Curzon's own supervision, also showed the islands as Persian territory.
Up and until 1903, the islands were mostly belonged to Iranians, and the Iranian flags were there. Even the Arab local population of there were under the Iranian guardianship, and the Iranians were always be the sovereign of the island, three islands. By 1903, the British Navy went to the island and established, and the claim was that these islands belonged to British government.
But it wasn't just the tombs and Abu Musa that Britain usurped. It occupied all the islands in the Persian Gulf. But the Persian governments of the time didn't stand for this and spared no efforts to get the islands back. And for the most part, Persia succeeded in doing this. In the year 1935, for example, Persia got Qeshm and Hengam back via extensive negotiations, and in 1962 it got Siri Island back. But the two tombs and Abu Musa remained under British occupation. Negotiations were ongoing, and in the end a deal was reached. Britain would give the islands back if Persia agreed to let go of Bahrain.
یه توافقی میکنن با شاه وقت ایران و اون این که این سه جزیره رو نیروهای ایرانی درش مستقر بشن، اما شاه ایران اجازه بده که بحرین که اون موقع استان 14 ایران بود به صورت یک کشور مستقل از طریق همه پرسی در بیاد. و شاه ایران اون موقع موافقت میکنه با این کار، گرچه که در سابقه تاریخی ایران هم جزیره بحرین و هم سایر جزایر منطقه میانی تا شمالی خلیج فارس متعلق به ایران بودند.
Iran agreed and Bahrain was separated from Persia. That said, Britain was not altogether faithful to the agreement. It gave the two tombs back but held on to Abu Musa. Britain insisted Persia get Sharjah's consent as well.
جزایر تنب بزرگ و تنب کوچک جزایری هستن که هیچ موقع کسی در اونها ساکن نبوده، زندگی نمیکرد. و یکن در جزیره ابو موسی مردم در اونجا زندگی میکردن، الان هم میکنن. تعدادی از مردمی که اونجا زندگی میکردن در همون زمان، تعداد کوچکی، اینا تبعه شارجه بودن. اون موقع هنوز دولت امارات تشکیل نشده بود و تبعه شارجه بودن. چون اون افراد تبع شارجه بودن، این که اونها چگونه اداره بشن یه تفاهمی بین ایران و شیخ شارجه در دسامبر سال 1971 امضا شد و اون این که بر اساس اون تفاهم نامه امنیت جزیره با ایران هست.
But the agreement between Iran and the Sharjah Sheikh was strongly opposed by certain Arab countries like Egypt, Libya and Iraq.
زمانی که صدام میخواست جنگ با ایران رو آغاز بکنه، 3 تا دلیل برای این آغاز جنگ آورد و 3 تا بهانه. یکی از بهانه‌هاش این بود که ایران جزیره ابو موسی رو در اختیار داره و این رو به اعراب واگذار نکرده. البته او گفته بود ایران باید 3 جزیره رو به اعراب واگذار کنه. مفهومش این بود که در واقع از ادعای امارات میخواست حمایت بکنه.
From 1971, when the agreement was signed, to 1992, the UAE never complained about Iran having dominance over the island. But in 1992, backed by Saudi Arabia and Egypt, the UAE challenged the 1971 agreement in the hope of increasing Arab influence over the region. Iran was accused of pouncing on and occupying the islands. Since the 1990s, on various occasions and pretexts, the UAE has made waves over the tombs in Abu Musa, but Iran's stance has never changed.
مسئله‌ای که مربوط به حق حاکمیت ما و اصول تمامیت ارضی کشور ما بشود، به هیچ وجه اظهارات برخلاف اون رو نخواهیم پذیرفت. همواره ما بر روابط برادرانه و روابط حسن همجواری با سایر همسایگان از جمله کشور امارات متحده عربی تأکید داشتیم. فکر می‌کنیم که مذاکرات سازنده بین کشور ما و کشور امارات می‌تواند در زمینه‌های مختلف موجب گسترش این روابط و همکاری‌ها بشود و سوء تفاهمات احتمالی بین مسئولین این کشور رو در رابطه با قرارداد سال 1971 و سندی که در این رابطه مبادله شده در رابطه با اجرای ترتیبات مربوط به این سند برطرف بکنه.
For more than 130 years, Britain has been very interested in the two tombs and Abu Musa. The reason for this is that the 3 islands are nestled inside the Hormuz Strait, giving the nation that owns them or controls them a great advantage over others.
40% ذخایر انرژی دنیا از تنگه هرمز میگذره. این 6 جزیره و این به ویژه این 3 تا جزیره در واقع اشراف دارن بر این تنگه، بر تنگه هرمز. پس بعد ژئو اکونومیکش کاملا از این منظر مشخصه. از بعد اهمیتی که در خلیج فارس پیدا میکنه این 3 تا جزیره و این در واقع 6 جزیره که حالا ما موضوعمون 3 تا جزیره است، از بعد ژئو استراتژیک اهمیت پیدا میکنه، از بعد راهبردی اهمیت پیدا میکنه، از بعد ژئوپلیتیک هم باز به همین شکل به جهت کشورهایی که از بعد سیاسی تو منطقه خلیج فارس هم مسائلی دارن و هم موضوعاتی دارن که به هر صورت مورد توجه دنیا هستند، از جمله جمهوری اسلامی ایران، از جمله کشور عربستان، از جمله کشور عراق. اینها کشورهایی بر اساس قدرتمند و مهم این منطقه هستند.
The West, especially Britain, has a long history of pursuing its own interests via colonialism, occupation, war, and asserting political pressure on other nations. So far, the reasons the UAE has given for laying claim to the three islands have not been legitimate or supported by history or law. But the UAE insists on jeopardizing bilateral ties to wrestle them from Iran.
UAE is acting as a proxy in the last 40 years at least, from the beginning of its establishment, as a proxy of the British and then American government against Iran. Whenever the British and the American policies are against Iran, one of the tools and vehicles they are using against Iran is UAE claims, and they intriguing the UAE government against Iran as a genuine claim, but it's really is not a genuine claim. It's a proxy war against Iran. The real side of war is United Kingdom before that, and now the United States. And the proxy war is the cover-up is United Arab Emirates claims on the islands.
سطح این بحث‌ها و تکرارش همواره یکی از مسائلی است که ما فکر می‌کنیم به تحریک اروپایی‌ها و غربی‌ها صورت می‌گیره و بنا به قولی شاید یه قدری خوشرخصی باشه برای آمریکا و غرب.
Because of Britain's long-standing policies in the region, Iran is always wary when the Britons start muscling in on regional affairs.
ببینید اگر شما مستر همفر رو مطالعه بکنید تاریخ زندگیش رو، اگر ماجرای از هم پاشیده شدن امپراتوری عثمانی رو ببینید، اگر بحث هایی که در خصوصش به جزیره بالکان اتفاق افتاده، به هر کجا که استعمار قدیم و استعمار جدید مایل بودن در استعمار قدیم خودشون لشکرکشی میکردن، بعد مرزها رو تقسیم میکردن، یه ریشه نطفه فتنه رو ایجاد میکردن، ریشه میدوند، از منطقه هم که میرفتن منافع اونا تعیین میشد. من معتقدم در ماجرای این رفتارهای مورد انتقاد امارات تصویری از بازیگران بین المللی هم میشه مشاهده کرد. اونم نه برای امروز، اونها قائل هستن که یه ریشه فتنه و درگیری و نزاع منطقه‌ای رو ایجاد بکنن، 10 سال این آبیاری بشود، فردا زمینه حضور بیگانگان رو مثل امروز قوت ببخشن.
Britain has been playing nasty in the area for a long time. As I just mentioned, it's been using all sorts of pretexts to cause trouble. It even divided Kuwait from Iraq, for instance. That was part of its policies. It used the Britain uses the ethnic and the religious part in lesser developed parts of the world in order to achieve its aims.
Britain has involved itself in the dispute over the islands from the very beginning, but this time, out of the blue, the US has voiced its opinion.
In historical context, the Roman army had a group of people who would ride forward, and they were called skirmishers. They would ride ahead of the army and they would pick a fight, as it were. And then the Roman army, once the fight had started, would move into action in earnest. The British act as skirmishers for this great military stalwart, which is called the United States. And what happens is they try and create an argument and a fight and then drag the United States in. And once the United States military has done a job and has carried out the fight and has done most of the fighting, then Britain comes in and feeds off the spoils of war. And Britain has become accustomed to performing this task for the United States since World War II. And this is just a continuation of the same policy.
Apart from Britain, the US and the UAE, certain Arab countries are also looking to catch fish in murky waters.
گاهی اوقات این امیرنشینا با هم اختلافات پیدا میکنن. تو جانشینی، تو مسائل اقتصادی، میدونید اونجا عدالتی هم بین این امیرنشینا نیست. یعنی حاکم ابوظبی تقریبا 90% امکانات و منافع و منابع امارات دست حاکم ابوظبی است. اون 6 تا خیلی مشکل دارن، خیلی گرفتاری، خیلی اختلاف با هم دارن. این کشور امارات از نظر مرز هم دچار اشکالات حقوقی بزرگی است، یعنی خیلی مرزهای معینی نداره، بیشتر مرزهای آبی و اینها داره. به همین خاطر اینا گاهی اوقات اختلافاتشون هم که بروز پیدا میکنه با طرح مسئله جزایر سه‌گانه ایرانی در واقع یک آبی بر آتش اختلافات داخلی خودشون میریزن.
And in Mr. Tafreshi's opinion, there is another reason why certain Arab nations like to unite against Iran.
Arab history is full of disappointment and loss against the Israel and the Israeli lobby in the international community. They cannot do anything with Israel. They have lots of mismanagement and bad policies and failure, and I don't want to use the harsher words, but they have lots of problem to deal with Arab-Israeli conflict. So they need another faked enemy to show that they are working against enemies, and they want to be united against another enemy called Iran. So they think Iran is a good target with that.
A question often asked is why Saudi Arabia is one of those nations that has backed the UAE consistently over the three-island dispute.
در واقع عربستان به دلیل اون رقابتی که با ایران داره و به دلیل اینکه دنبال نفوذ منطقه‌ای بیشتری هست از ادعای امارات حمایت میکنه برای اینکه در رقابت با ایران در وضعیت مناسبتری قرار بگیره. از طرف دیگه بعد از اینکه صدام به ایران حمله کرد 6 کشور حاشیه جنوبی خلیج فارس یک شورایی رو تشکیل دادن به نام شورای همکاری خلیج فارس که عبارتند از کویت و عربستان و بحرین و قطر و امارات و عمان، و این 6 کشور در اونجا توافق کردند که از همدیگه در مسائل امنیتی حمایت بکنن و بنابراین وقتی که امارات یک مسئله را علیه ایران طرح میکنه بقیه اون کشورها هم از ادعای امارات حمایت میکنن، گرچه که بعضی از اون کشورها در مذاکرات دو جانبه با ایران میگن که ما کاری به این مسئله نداریم، ولی که چون عضو شورا هستیم حمایت میکنیم.
The kingdoms on the southern shores of the Persian Gulf are considered Arabs, and therefore the Saudi Arab, the Al Saud family at least considers itself duty bound to support whatever tune they play in the Persian Gulf. Also, Saudi Arabia considers itself a rival to Iran in the region, and feels that by standing up to Iran, it has shored up the foundations of its own monarchy, which were formed with the backing of Britain back in the 1920s.
There is ample historical evidence that the Lesser and Greater Tombs and Abu Musa have always been part of Iran. There are documents that prove that Britain, for one, did consider the three islands to be part of Persia. Nevertheless, at this time, the West has decided to encourage a power struggle between the UAE and Iran.
میگن دشمن من دوست من است. بر این اساس رفتار میکنن، یعنی کشورها از ادعای امارات نه به دلایل حقوقی حمایت میکنن بلکه به دلایل سیاسی برای اینکه به ایران فشار وارد بشه حمایت میکنن. اگر روابط ایران با این کشورها بهبود پیدا بکنه اونها موازهشون تغییر خواهد کرد.